seems like Jon Jones might have been talking shit and playing us all for fools this entire time, because he was just at a seminar in Thailand, Bangtan, world famous gym, and he gave one hell of an announcement.
When are you fighting Tom?
I was waiting for it. When are you fighting Tom? Like, Governor. The UFC in town, we all got a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. They're one of the biggest organizations in sports, and right now Tom and I have agreed to wait for the UFC to make their announcements. So I legally can't really talk about it.
Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall each confirmed just hours ago, separately, that they're prepared to face off. Both fighters have publicly expressed their desire for this matchup, and now it's in the UFC's hands to make the bout official.
Well, you're a busy man. It feels like you're training for something, but obviously it don't seem like you can, get the guy to fight. Tom, we're getting straight to it. I mean, what are we waiting for? It sounds to me, recently I saw an interview where it said you and Jon are aligned, and you guys have decided together to allow for the UFC to tell you what you're doing. Is that true?
Nah, man, Jon's retired. What are we talking about, guys? Jon, you guys don't follow Jon on social media?
I don't follow him on social media. He said that...
No, me too, actually. Me too, but the guy is living his best life. He's had a fantastic career, we all know. We know Jon's a religious man, so I want to say God bless him moving forward in what he does with his life and his career. And, we move on. We move on. I'm the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. I'm ready to take on all comers, get this division moving again. Us guys have been waiting around too long. The contenders are getting sick of it. Everybody's getting sick of it. Even the fans are getting sick of this stuff. So Jon's retired and it's time that we move on.
This is the greatest promo I've ever heard. He just announced his nemesis's retirement.
And just like that, the MMA world is buzzing. For the longest time, this clash seemed more like a dream than something that could actually happen. With all the injuries, contract drama, social media back and forth, and the unclear state of the heavyweight division, fans had serious doubts about whether this fight would ever become a reality. But now, it's real, it's on the horizon, and the excitement is off the charts. This isn't just another bout, it's a pivotal moment in MMA history. On one side stands Jon Jones, the most decorated light heavyweight the UFC has ever seen, who now holds the heavyweight crown. He's battled legends, thrived in chaos, and reinvented himself in 2 divisions.
Is very different. Jon is what I would describe there's human beings that have different temperament and different minds and different mentality and a ruthless competitive drive that's almost terrifying to the ordinary person. That's Jon Jones. Jon Jones is a bad guy who's trying to be a good guy. Right. But that guy, if we were living 1,000 years ago, he would be on a horse with the biggest battle axe, waiting in the back, hacking heads off, and everybody would be running. And those people have always existed. These dominators have always existed.
Yeah.
But Jon is like a genuinely sensitive, intelligent guy who's trying to do the right thing. But he's a fucking conqueror. He's a fucking conqueror. That's the thing that's inside of him that leads him to be the GOAT. And without that, you don't get there.
When Jon Jones won that title at 23, it's just been destruction of everyone ever since. Never ducked anybody, fought all the best, destroyed everybody, has dominated his division, went up to heavyweight, dominates at heavyweight.
So why?
He's just the greatest of all time. He's 37 years old and he's still the greatest.
Do you think the Aspinall-Jones fight happens?
Got to happen. I was sitting next to Tom the other week at the UFC in London and talking to him about it.
How do you think that plays out if they fight?
I'll be honest, Tom's a friend. I love Tom. He's one of the coolest dudes in the whole of MMA. Even though Jones is getting old, I just can't pick against Jon Jones. The one thing I do think Jon Jones has got the best in the world and the best ever is his fight IQ. He has a perfect game plan to beat that person. As much as I love Tom and I want Tom to win, I couldn't pick against Jon Jones. It's just something I couldn't do.
Like him or not, Jon Jones has a resume that's hard to rival. He's built a reputation for adapting mid-fight, outsmarting top-tier opponents, and pulling off unpredictable techniques that leave fans and fighters stunned. But despite his accomplishments, many argue that he's never encountered someone quite like Tom Aspinall. Tom isn't just about raw power. He's not a wild striker or someone who fades after one round. He's a strategic, well-rounded heavyweight with sharp fight IQ, capable of ending bouts either on his feet or on the mat, and he does it with incredible speed.
Who's next big heavyweight star?
Tom Aspinall, the guy who
Of
just
course, who
won
just
the
won.
interim title. He's phenomenal, and he is again the next the next advancement of the evolution of the sport.
How so?
Well, because he can do everything. That guy's got elite jiu-jitsu. He's got elite takedowns. His striking is outstanding. Like, I've seen a lot of heavyweight, even Francis, who's like the greatest, scariest power striker I've ever seen in the heavyweight division. No one's scarier than Francis. Francis does not move like Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is significantly faster than every other heavyweight. That's a real problem because he's a heavyweight and he's a big guy, a really big guy, but he moves so fast. And so his speed has always been like extraordinary compared to other heavyweights. Like, he just fucking moves in. It's all like fast, explosive movements. So he's got natural speed, but then he's also got a lot of training to execute quickly. So when he moves in, he closes the gap. You can see like he's fast for a big guy.
Right. I want to see it so bad.
John was shitting all over Aspinall, saying that
I think
he was
that's
lucky.
a bad way to go.
He was lucky that he blew his knee out with Curtis Blades because Curtis was teeing off
Doing
on
well.
him. Unless John avoided him, unless John used his wrestling to avoid exchanges, you know what that's all about.
Correct. It's called the Shop Shutdown.
The Shop Shutdown.
I saw a 7-part
They did with
series on
Cyborg.
it. Yes. The Stipe fight, which is just like, it's a weird thing.
Aspinall's an athlete, man. He's such a good athlete.
Freak athlete.
Very fast. Very fast for a heavyweight.
So fast.
Yeah, but
And-
we felt the same way about Cyril Gane.
Yeah. But
Yeah, but Cyril
Gane
Gane
is-
doesn't have wrestling, doesn't have jiu-jitsu. Aspinall's like legit on the ground. Very legit on the ground.
So legit
dad-
that his dad owned jiu-jitsu gym. His dad's a black belt. He started doing jiu-jitsu at 2.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Aspinall is past the first round, right? Because we've seen him. He looks so fast. He looks, you're like, nobody moves like him. He looks like a younger Kane.
Right.
But he just keeps knocking these guys out so quick. So I'm like, let me see him past the first round to see if he has that cardio as well.
Get an idea. He was the one who delayed and delayed and delayed till Francis was out the fucking door. He could have fought Francis a long time ago. If he'd just taken the chance of going up to heavyweight earlier, we could have had him versus a prime Cain Velasquez. Cain Velasquez was 240. Jon Jones is 260, 265. And you're telling me Cain Velasquez was too big for him? What a load of shit. Stipe Miocic could have fought him in his prime, another one who was no bigger than Jon Jones. So when he's giving it the big and being like, oh, well, people always think someone's going to come and dethrone me. And yeah, I get the narrative. That was the way at light heavyweight. There was always that next guy coming up. But you ain't never fought an animal like Tom Aspinall, who is as quick on his feet, who has the speed that he does at 260 pounds, who has the heavy hands that he does. You have never been in there with a beast like that. It's just not happened. I'm not saying that means Aspinall wins, but for people to do the Tyson Fury thing of going, oh, well, he's always won, so therefore he always will.
Aspinall moves with the fluidity of a welterweight, delivers strikes with precision, and makes every close-range exchange count. That's part of what makes this potential showdown so fascinating. Two highly skilled, well-rounded fighters meeting in the UFC's most unpredictable division. Now, let's break down how fans and analysts think this could unfold. Some believe Jon's veteran savvy and mastery of cage control will be the deciding factor. They see him enduring Tom's early aggression, clinching up, slowing the pace, and systematically wearing him down over the rounds. Supporters of this view often bring up how Jones shut down powerful opponents like Glover Teixeira, Rampage Jackson, and Daniel Cormier, reminding everyone that no matter the challenge, Jon has always found a way to win.
Jon Jones will smoke Tom Aspinall.
Tom Aspinall is athletic.
Aspinall is a great fighter.
Yep.
He's a good champion.
Aspinall.
Jon Jones will smoke Aspinall.
Yeah.
Smoke him.
I can't wait to see. I hope it happens. That's the fight that needs to happen. I
Why-
think Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones needs to happen.
Why do you think there's so much friction there? Why do you think it's not happening? Why? Because we see so
I think
much.
Jon
on the
Jones said
internet.
he wants $30 million.
If UFC were to pay that, I'm sure they could figure out a way. You think he would do it?
Of course they pay. They just reported earnings. Give me the exact numbers what their earnings was.
UFC brought in 1.4. WWE
1.4 billion. We're in a situation where the company wants something from Jon Jones. They want Tom Aspinall to fight Jon Jones. Jon Jones says, I would like $30 million. Can you guys pay me? Yes or no? No, Jon Jones, we can't pay you. Perfect. The fight doesn't even happen.
I think that the UFC don't like to pay that type of money because you know how hard it is to train for MMA.
I bet if he's weighing 215, he would fight Tom Aspinall better than him weighing 245 pounds. In his 205 frame, he could fight Tom Aspinall better than he'd fight him at that 250 because that's not his weight class. While he didn't last long with Cyril, he didn't look as fast. He carried more weight. Cyril just did some weird stuff. And Jon, you don't make mistakes against Jon.
Flip side, many argue that this is an entirely new kind of challenge for Jon. They see Tom as quicker, more precise, and more strategic than anyone Jones has faced before, especially at heavyweight. Critics point out that Jon is no longer in his prime, coming off a long layoff and hasn't stood across the cage from someone with Tom's level of speed, agility, and explosiveness in this weight class.
Reality is, Jon Jones is now the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. And when he fights Stipe Miocic, and if he is victorious, then he has to face Tom Aspinall next. This is just the way the world works, okay? And if he refuses to fight Tom Aspinall next, then we gotta start having a serious conversation as to whether or not this man should be stripped. Jon is the undisputed champion of the world. Tom is the interim champion. This is how it works. They face one another. He's calling out Alex Pereira for a legacy fight. That wasn't your thinking at light heavyweight. You were taking on all comers. And that is what a champion is supposed to do. Take on all comers. What I'm saying is sounds crazy. I'm not saying this as a Jon Jones hater, but if this was boxing, Jon Jones would be stripped. That's a fact. I think Tom smokes it. I do. And I think Jon is probably very conscious of that threat as well. I'm not saying he doesn't think he can win, but he understands that this will be a tough fight. But they're all tough fights. They're all supposed to be tough fights.
Supporters of Aspinall argue that if he connects early, using the same speed and precision he's become known for, it could be a short night. Even within the fight community, opinions are divided. Joe Rogan has openly praised Aspinall's rare athleticism, suggesting he might be the most dangerous opponent Jon has ever faced. Michael Bisping has been vocal about wanting the matchup, believing Tom has exactly what it takes to pull off a massive upset. On the other hand, analysts like Chael Sonnen maintain that Jon's experience, mastery of cage control, and mental tactics give him the edge. Recently, Aspinall stirred up some controversy by questioning Jones's legacy. He said he doesn't view Jon as the greatest of all time due to past suspensions and what he describes as a history of cutting corners. Aspinall emphasized that he's taken a clean, disciplined path to the top, and he's grown frustrated with the delays, accusing Jones of playing retirement games and stalling the division's progress.
And of course, it's been pretty interesting, all the stuff that Jon Jones has been saying to the media this week, and I'm sure there's more to come, but check out these.
You're beating guys who aren't even champions, and you consider yourself a champion. He's not a champion.
So Jon said I need to fight more champions, but this is the problem I've got. Jon is the champion, and he won't fight me. And he says that he won't fight me because it's too much of a gamble.
Aspinall to me is no difference than an Owen St. Prude or Dominic Reyes or Anthony Smith. Like just another up and comer that's exciting right now. And I'm not into gambling my legacy for what's exciting.
And Jon, if you're not into gambling your legacy, that to me sounds like you're scared of losing against me.
See, I think pound for pound, and we won't ever find out. I think Tom Aspinall is the best. I think
who knows?
I think Tom beats him.
Who knows if Jon beats him? Jon might beat him up.
Yeah, he could.
Jon might take him down and fucking ragdoll him on the ground,
Jon easily could, because we don't know how good Jon is either.
And we also don't know what happens to Tom Aspinall in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds.
We
have zero
because no one's gotten there.
No one's even gotten close.
There's so many question marks, and we don't know how good Jon is.
Right. You
can't tell me Jon's the best of all time, or he is the best GOAT, but you can't tell me he's the baddest heavyweight on the planet after being an older Stipe. That's not going to do it for me.
Right.
Aspinall looks fucking good, and he's in his prime.
Well, Cyril Gane almost beat Francis. I know you can say the thing about the knee, and Jones just smoked him.
Went right through
We also didn't know fucking Cyril Gane was a fucking 3-stripe white belt. That's news to me.
According to Aspinall, this isn't even about Jon Jones anymore. It's about the belt. He's not chasing a name, he's chasing the undisputed title. He wants to unify the belts, defend the championship properly, and carve out a legacy that lasts. But he's clearly frustrated, not just with Jon, but with how the entire situation is unfolding. Aspinall feels like Jones is holding up the division, stalling his momentum and dodging the matchup that fans are actually craving, and he's not alone in thinking that. This rivalry has completely taken over the MMA discourse. Everyone has something to say, Some argue Jon is simply being strategic, managing his body, choosing his moments wisely, and avoiding unnecessary risk against a dangerous younger contender, like Aspinall.
Is Jon Jones scared to fight you?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the thing with Jon is conning the public, man.
Whoa. And Logan Paul, it's his favorite fighter.
Yeah. Oh, is it really?
Well,
yeah. Listen.
I mean, he's definitely top three. He's definitely top three.
Absolutely. I'm not disputing that he's an amazing fighter. I think the fact that he didn't want to fight Ngannou for 3 years, and now he's not wanting to fight me for over a year. And he just, the way he manipulates the media and the public is super smart. I'm not taking anything away from him. But do I think he's scared to take the tough fights at this stage in his career? Absolutely.
Can you understand that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I can.
You can empathize with that?
I respect it. But if you're going to ask me the straight up question, is Jon Jones afraid to fight me? The honest answer would be yes.
Well, regardless of...
Others aren't buying the strategic angle. They're calling it what they see it as, ducking. They believe Jon Jones fully understands the threat Aspinall poses and is intentionally steering clear of that fight. And then there's the ever-heated GOAT debate, which has only intensified. Jones's supporters point to his resume, multiple championships over a decade of dominance, 2 weight classes conquered, and an undefeated record in terms of official losses. To them, the legacy is undeniable, but on the other side, Aspinall's camp and a growing number of fans argue that legacy comes with a major asterisk. They point to controversies, suspensions, and say the GOAT crown shouldn't come with baggage.
Jon Jones' legacy is intact, and all the stuff he's saying, there's been this story that's been going on and on and on and on. But this one I could understand why it may have upset people, triggered people. Did you guys see on his IG Live, he was talking about the accusations that he is a duck, that he's ducking Tom Aspinall. Look, he's doing this reality show with Nathan Diaz in Russia, and I'm told that the money is just absurd. It's astronomical, get paid, well-deserved, both legends of the game. I totally understand it. But here's the part that I very much disagree with him. It's not about you, Jon. It's not about you. It's not about your life. It's not about your story. If you want to enjoy your life, if you want to be a part of a reality show, if you want to take that money and delay things and hold someone else's dreams back from becoming a reality, that is ducking. That is ducking, because there is a time-honored tradition in this business, in the sport, in combat sports, in fight sports, in sports period, that the whole thing has to move along. It's not about your story.
Jon Jones or Tom Aspinall. So if you don't know MMA world, sorry to bore you, but Tom Aspinall is UFC's #1 right now. Jon Jones is, he's seen as the best MMA fighter on the planet. Dana White's got a massive for him, says he's unbeatable. Honestly, I think if you put Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall in a room and said one man leaves, I think Tom Aspinall leaves that room. I genuinely do. I think Jon Jones, I mean, I can't badmouth the guy. He's got an amazing record, but he's definitely ducking Tom Aspinall, 100%. And I think he's even said he doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall after his next fight. He's pretty much going to retire after this fight, so he's ducking Tom Aspinall. I mean, he can say what he wants, but actions speak louder than words. So there we go. Anyway, the answer to that question is Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is kicking Jon Jones.
Failed drug tests, suspensions, and off-cage drama. Critics say it all adds up. In their view, a clean, disciplined athlete like Tom Aspinall, who's been finishing top-tier opponents in under a round, has more than earned his shot at the undisputed title. Even legends in the sport are weighing in. Michael Bisping recently called Aspinall the most complete heavyweight in the game right now. Joe Rogan praised his calm under pressure and freakish athletic ability, going as far as saying Tom could be Jon's toughest test yet. And of course, Chael Sonnens stirred the pot, claiming that if Jon really wanted the fight, the contract would have been signed already. But Jones hasn't stayed quiet. He's clapped back subtly on social media, throwing shade, reminding everyone he's still the reigning champ, still the man to beat. He's hinted that Aspinall hasn't truly earned his spot and that if they ever do fight, it'll happen on his terms. So far, the UFC hasn't made anything official, but word behind the scenes points to Madison Square Garden this November as the likely destination for a title unification bout. If that's the case, this long simmering feud might finally erupt in the octagon. Right now, it's a boiling point. A fired-up interim champion ready to prove himself, a legend clinging to the throne with every ounce of leverage he's got, and a fan base completely split. Is Jon avoiding a real threat? Or is Aspinall just another rising star trying to build his name off the GOAT?
Do we believe Jon Jones? That's the question. Is he just saying this to appease everyone at the seminar so that people don't have, some kind of negative response? Or is he actually telling the truth? My guess is that he's telling the truth. My guess is that he will take the fight. Ariel Helwani came out recently and said, apparently he asked for a crazy number and the UFC met it. And he didn't think the UFC would do that. So now he turned down the fight. To be fair, Ariel Helwani, as much of a bellend that he is, he does find stuff out. He does weasel his way. He does call people up. He does annoy them. He does get the inside scoop a lot of the time, and he has no problem revealing it. We know that.
Because if you do this, there's only a handful of people that know this information. So we're going to fire a bunch of people, and you're going to ruin people's lives. This is what I was told was a conversation they had with him. After that conversation, he leaked the Brock Lesnar stuff.
So maybe there was some truth to that. But this, of course, goes against everything. Now, this will be the biggest heavyweight fight that the UFC has ever seen. Jon Jones will probably get one of the biggest paydays the sport's ever seen. In fact, the only person I think that could even rival this or maybe got paid more would be a Conor.
One thing is clear. This fight can't be put off much longer. Every time Aspinall speaks out, the tension intensifies. Every moment Jones stays quiet, the pressure mounts. And when that cage door finally shuts, it won't just be about the belt. It will be a defining moment for the legacies of both fighters. Beyond, the fight itself is the bigger story, the GOAT debate. If Jon Jones steps in and comes out victorious, it could settle the argument once and for all. Taking down the most dangerous heavyweight in the world at this stage in his career would solidify his place not just as the greatest light heavyweight ever, but perhaps as the greatest MMA fighter in history. But if Tom Aspinall pulls off the upset, he instantly becomes a global superstar, the man who dethroned the GOAT and ushered in a new era for the UFC heavyweight division. It would be the biggest victory of his career and one of the most significant in UFC history. The hype is undeniable. The stakes couldn't be higher. And the fans, they're more than ready. Now it's up to Dana White and the UFC to step up and make it official, because when this fight happens, it won't just shatter records. It will make history.